get started. So I have here just a folded blanket. You could use a beach towel or a cushion from your couch, anything to sit on just to kind of help your pelvis be a little bit higher. We will start seated today. And I like to sit in a cross-legged seat with my heels just stacked in front of each other, but that by no means is the only way to sit. You can sit with your knees higher and your ankles underneath your shins, or you can even kneel. And if you kneel, you can put something between your ankles and your bum if it's too hard on your knees to sit all the way on your heels. You could, I'll turn around and show you, you can put like a folded blanket or pillow between your shins and sit down on that. So our goal when we're seated is to have your hips and your knees either at the same height or your knees a little bit below your hips, and that will allow your spine to be tall. So find a place and fold up as many blankets, or go grab a beach towel that you can fold because that'll be nice and firm, or some firm pillows from your couch so that you can sit in a way that's comfortable and your knees are about the same level as your hips or a little bit lower, hips a little bit higher than your knees. And that way when you're sitting, your pelvis and your spine can be upright. So often what happens is when we sit down on the floor all the way, our tailbone will just tuck underneath us, and then we're just in slouch mode. And we really want to work on an upright pelvis, upright spine. So sitting on something will be really helpful and nice. And you get to choose record this, but I'm just recording my screen. I won't record anyone else's. Have your camera on or your camera. We can talk to each other and chat for a minute. So that's the plan for today. Like I told Etta earlier, I'm trying to keep it to about 30 minutes. I sometimes have a hard time. So I'm just going to say 30 to 45 minutes is how it will take, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. So go ahead and find your comfortable seat. And let your spine be tall. Let your legs be comfortable and your hips be comfortable. And you can just close your eyes and start to notice your body breathing. You don't need to do anything to change your breath. Just kind of notice your breath. This week in Come Follow Me, our focus is on the first vision, on Joseph Smith history. Right, and the Doctrine and Covenants that we're studying this year is all about questions and receiving those answers. And on this earth, the tool that we have to receive answers is our bodies. Right? Everything that we experience is registered as some kind of physical sensation in our body. Really obvious physical things like temperature or pressure or even taste and sight, right? Those are experienced as physical sensations in our bodies. But also emotions. Right? We feel anxiousness in our chest and our tummy. Right? We feel joy as a lightness and an expansive feeling, but it's a physical sensation in our body. And we also receive answers. And for each of us, that feeling of the Spirit is a little bit different, but it is registered as something physical in our bodies. We feel a warmth, we feel an expansiveness or a peace and a calm. And the more connected we can be to our bodies, the more receptive we can be to that communication from our Heavenly Father. So right here, as we're starting our practice, just want you to scan through your body and just notice how aware you can be of different parts of your body. And just start with your pelvis, whatever is connected to the floor. See if you can feel your sitting bones, those bony protrusions at the bottom of your bum, connected with your cushion or blanket. Just feel that underneath you. Feel the pressure. You might notice the difference between the right and the left. You could rock a little from side to side. Maybe even see if you can make the weight from the right side to the left side equal. See if you can find that awareness. Right? And it's all a practice and an experimentation and something that we have to do over and over again if it's not totally available. Right? That's why we just come back again another day. And then feel the whole length and weight of your legs underneath you. Notice if you're gripping anything. See if maybe you can relax a little more through your legs. Notice your knees, any sensations there, the pressure of them bending. Maybe even feel the fabric of your clothes. Notice your ankles and your feet. Feel the bottoms of your feet and just notice any sensation of temperature or energy, aliveness there. Bring your awareness back to your pelvis and we'll work our way up. So just feel the contents of your lower belly. Does it feel solid or soft or fluid there? Does it move when you breathe? Feel that lower spine and the effort it takes to hold your spine upright. Feel your upper belly and the base of your rib cage where your diaphragm is that moves with your breath. Notice your rib cage, that protective cage that houses your lungs and your heart. Can you even maybe perceive your heartbeat? Feel your collarbones broad. And let your heart feel open, and then notice the whole weight and length of your arms. You can feel your hands and notice any energy, aliveness, temperature in your hands, wherever they're resting, whether they're resting on your lap, by your sides, palms face up or palms face down. Notice the spine of your upper back and see if you can let it get tall all the way up through your neck and the crown of your head. And bring some awareness to your face, to your forehead, and to your eyes, to your jaw, to your mouth. All of this is just an investigation with curiosity. Like, are there parts of your body that you're more easily able to be aware of? You can keep your eyes closed if they're closed. You can let them open, and we'll just start to find some circles with our neck. So drop your chin, and then just bring one ear over to a shoulder, and then come through center, bring your other ear over to a shoulder. And just go back and forth really little. A few times. Just one ear to shoulder, other ear to shoulder, and then you can start to let those get a little bit bigger. Maybe lifting your chin toward the ceiling. And let your upper spine and your rib cage get involved now. So you can find some circles with your rib cage. As your ear comes to one shoulder, you could maybe push your rib cage to the opposite side. And as your chin comes to your chest, you can push your spine behind you and let your spine round. And then other ear, your rib cage goes the opposite way. And then maybe as you lift your chin, your heart lifts. And just let these circles feel really fluid and natural, and go one direction a couple of times. And then you can switch. And all the while, we're just noticing what we can be more and more aware of. After you feel equal from one direction to the other, just bring your hands behind you and your feet out in front of you. Now you can keep your seat on your pillow or a blanket, and we're just going to windshield wiper our knees from side to side. If you feel like you're kind of rocking off of that support underneath you, you can just move it out of the way. Use your hands underneath you and just rock your knees from side to side. And lean back on your hands as much as your spine and hips feel like they need it. And then you can start to let your twists get a little bit bigger. Maybe reach with an arm as your knees come to one side, reach with the opposite arm around. And we'll make our way onto our hands and knees. So just find your way to your hands and knees. And then immediately just step a right foot forward and come up into a low lunge. But it's not a really deep lunge. We've just got our knees at about 90 degrees. I'm going to bring my right hand. Well, actually, bring both of your arms out in front of you, and we'll start here. So palms can be facing each other. And just think about reaching forward and spreading your shoulder blades as far apart as you can. And then you're just going to suck your arms back in and draw your shoulder blades toward each other. So we're just moving forward and back, but only moving through your shoulder blades. So your whole arm moves forward by spreading your shoulder blades on your back, and then your whole arm moves back by drawing your shoulder blades together. And just do that 2 or 3 more times. And notice if maybe one shoulder blade's easier to move than the other, or if one shoulder wants to creep up higher. And then drop your right hand along your side. Just lift your left arm up alongside your ear, and just find a side bend any amount over to your right. And just get a nice long stretch from that left knee out through the left fingertips. Bring your left hand and just swim it down to the outer right knee. And then reach your right arm back and find a twist here. Unwind your twist. And then just lean forward a little into that right knee. And you can even play with waking your foot up by lifting your heel. You can maybe tuck your back toes even, and as you let your hips come back, just stretch those back toes. And then end that movement, untuck your back toes. I'm going to take this right foot, and this will be a funny experience, I think, for most of us. So I want you to see that your left knee, shin, ankle, heel, and toes are all in a line. So you're not sickling that left back foot in. They're all in a line. You're going to just toe heel this right foot in line with your left knee. And just play with your balance here. Use your arms however you need to. And just notice what little muscles need to turn on to hold you here. And see if you can calm your breathing down. Just breathe naturally in and out of your nose. And then really firm down in through that left shin. Lift your right heel, and then maybe float that whole right foot up off the floor. We're just going to come back into a standing kneel. You'll just bring your right knee and shin to the floor next to your left. And it's funny that that lunge is a balancing pose, but it's really good teaching our brain how to turn on all of those muscles around our spine. Step your left foot forward and just find your lunge on the other side. Reach your arms out in front of you, and this time lift your shoulder blades up toward your ears and then depress them down. So we're just moving shoulder blades, lifting and lowering. So there's a difference between like shrugging your shoulders from like your outer shoulders. See if you can move this from your back body. And then we'll connect all of those movements as you lift up, then reach forward, and then lower down and bring together. Lift up, reach forward, lower down, and bring them together. And then release. Left arm alongside your left hip. Reach your right arm up and over. Find a side bend. So it's a long stretch from that right knee out through your right fingertips. And then you'll swim your right hand outside your left knee and just reach your left arm back. And a nice open twist here. And then unwind yourself. Bend deeply into that front knee. You can even lift your heel. And play with tucking those back toes as just getting a stretch through the bottom of that back foot. And then pause in your lunge, untuck those back toes and see that your knee, your shin, your heel, and your toes are all in a line. And then we'll toe heel this left foot in line with the right. And just find your balance. Use your arms as much as you need to, and just notice the difference from one side to the other. And then we'll see if we can really balance on that right shin. Push into that right shin. Lift your left heel. And then float those left toes up off the floor and come back into an upright kneel. Bring your hands to the floor. And like we did when we were upright, I want you just to move your shoulder blades. Push the floor away and try to keep your spine still. Let your shoulder blades spread apart. And then drop your heart down and just let your shoulder blades come together. Push your hands down. And then let your shoulder blades come together. And for some of us, this kind of takes a lot of practice. We don't look at our back body and think about moving our shoulder blades. So you just try your best, pushing the floor away, and then dropping your heart closer to the floor and drawing your shoulder blades together. Let's just do it 2 more times. With a still spine, you're just moving through your shoulders. And now you can let your spine get involved. Tuck your tailbone under and really round. You can tuck your chin. And then find the complete opposite. Lift your tailbone, drop your belly, and look forward. Round your tailbone under, push the floor away, and now bring your hips toward your heels and flex through your wrists. Just lift your whole hands up off the floor, but keep your wrists connected. And then rock forward and just lift your palms so your forefingers will stay down. Drop through your wrists, hips towards your heels, and then lift your hands. And just go back here, and you can let your spine get involved here if you want. You can drop your belly as you lift your palms and round as you bring your hips to heels. But we're working on the strength in our hands and our wrists. Just one more there, lifting your palms, and then hips to heels, lift your fingers, and then come back onto your hands and knees, and just rock your weight a little bit from side to side. Feel what feels supportive, a supportive position for your hands. Tuck your toes, and then lift your hips up and back, and we'll find a downward facing dog. So you're in upside down V here. And you can imagine that your hands are like feet, right? You've got an inner arch in your feet. I want you to think of having that inner arch in your hands. And kind of grip the floor with your fingertips. You can even let a little more weight come into the pinky edge of your hand. And feel that responsiveness through your shoulders. Lift your hips up and then let your lower ribs kind of soften in here. And then we'll just walk our hands back to our knees. Bend your knees and find a standing forward fold at the back of your mat. And then you can play with straightening one leg and then the other. Just kind of going back and forth here. And then come to a place where you have an even bend through both of your legs. And you're feeling this more in the back of your legs than in your lower back. Okay, so bend your knees enough that you're not overtaxing your lower back. And then drop your chin, drop your head, and we'll come up one vertebrae at a time. So think about pointing your tailbone towards your heels and lifting your pelvis upright. And then just rolling yourself up, head will come up. Very last. And just feel yourself here and standing. Look at your feet and see if you can make your feet parallel with each other. So line from the base of your second toe to the center of your heel. Imagine those lines just go forward and back forever without meeting. Those lines are parallel. And let your tailbone kind of point towards your heels, not so much that you're tucking your tailbone under, but the space between your pubic bone and your tailbone is parallel with the floor. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears and just bring your shoulder blades on your back and let your palms face forward. Stack your ears over your shoulders and just stand here for one more breath. See if you can scan your body from the soles of your feet, up your legs, up your arms and spine all the way through the crown of your head. And then we'll take a big step forward with our right foot and just find a high lunge. So you can take a few steps to get there. And I want you, if you've got a mat or even just an imaginary mat space on your floor, I want you to think about your 2 feet being on railroad tracks. So you can imagine you've got a tightrope line down the center of your mat, and then down the right half of your mat and down the left half of your mat, you have another line. Think about putting your right foot on that right line and left foot on your left line so that you've got a pretty solid lunge. Push back into that right big toe ball mound, and you can engage through your left big toe ball mound, and engage through your left bum, and let yourself feel open through the front of your left hip. Just bring your right hand to your right hip and lift your left arm over. And again, find a side bend here. So we did this in a low lunge. Let's do this in a high lunge. And then we'll find that twist. Swim your left hand outside your right knee and just reach your right arm back. And just twist around. Breathe calmly in and out of your nose. And then we'll cartwheel around. We'll ground our left heel. and open our hips to the side. So now your right knee is bent. Okay. And your right knee is stacked over that right heel and ankle. And just kind of bend and straighten through that right knee. You can swivel your hips a little bit. Let yourself find some freedom. And your left toes are just going to angle in just a little bit. And then let yourself settle into a warrior two. Legs. So these open hip legs, this is warrior two. Reach your arms out. Then you can look out over your right fingertips. Maybe bend a little more into that right knee. Drop your left hand to your left thigh. Flip your right arm up, your right palm up, and reach back. Try to stay committed to the bend in the that front knee. And then we'll bring right forearm to thigh, right thigh, left arm alongside your ear. And we'll just go back and forth here. Stay committed to the bend in that right knee as you inhale and reach back. And then exhale, reach forward. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, reach forward. Do that one last time. Inhale and reach back. Exhale, reach forward. And then come upright, just open your arms. And then we'll turn those right toes to face the long edge of your mat. And then bring both heels in. So toes out, heels in, and bend into your knees. So now we're in a high squat. You can shift your hips from side to side. And then reach your arms out in front of you. Right elbow underneath. Just give yourself a big hug. See if you can come a little bit lower. You can keep your hug or maybe wrap your arms. You can bring the backs of your hands together or right fingertips into your left palm. Let's hold for one more breath. And then straighten both legs. Unwind your arms. We're just going to turn to the left and find your high lunge to the other side. So lift your back heel and think of your feet on railroad tracks. Bend into your left knee. Push down into your right big toe ball mound. You can gauge through your right glute. Your left knee just stacks over your ankle. But you want just to kind of feel some buoyant lifting here from your feet. Don't feel like rigid and stuck. Feel like you can have some movement. Left hand to your hip, reach your right arm up, and then side bend over to your left. And then right hand comes outside your left knee. Just reach your left arm back. And then release that right hand. We'll just cartwheel our way into that warrior two. Ground through your right heel. And keep those left toes and knee pointing to the side. Right toes just dial in just a little bit, and you can move here a little through your hips. And then find stillness. Maybe look down and see if you can see your left big toe inside that left knee. If your knee is kind of sickling and covering your big toe, just move it out to the left a little bit more. Let your gaze go over those front fingertips. And then drop your right hand. Lift your left. Stay committed to the bend in that front knee. And then left forearm to thigh, right arm alongside your ear. And back again. Just move with your breath. Breathing in and out of your nose calmly. Back and forward. Let's reach back. Left forearm to thigh. Right arm alongside your ear. And then come upright. Open your arms. Straighten through that left leg. Parallel your feet. And then heels in, toes out. Bend. Left elbow underneath. Give yourself a big hug. And think about stacking your shoulders over your hips. So in your lunge, in your squat here, try not to lean forwards a whole lot, but think about having a wall behind your back. You can keep your hug. You could bring the backs of your hands together, or maybe bring left fingertips into your right palm. You can keep moving from side to side. Just one more breath. And then release your arms, straighten your legs. High lunge to the right. Lift that left heel, lengthen up through your left arm, and find a side bend. And then left hand outside your right knee, reach your arm back. Right arm back. And then cartwheel your arms open into warrior two. Ground through your back heel. And we'll just do it again. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, forearm to thigh. Just do that 4 times. Move with your own breath. Really think of grounding into as you reach away. And then come up to your warrior two. Straighten that right leg, parallel your feet. Heels in, toes out. Sit down. Right elbow underneath, give yourself a hug. Maybe find those eagle arms. And just play with lifting one heel and then the other. Just do one more breath here. Then find your high lunge to the left. Lift your back heel. Reach your right arm up. Side bend to your left. And then right hand outside that left knee. Reach your left arm back. And then cartwheel yourself open to your warrior two to the other side. You can find a little bit of wiggling. And then settle down in a place where your pelvis feels really supported. Lift that left arm. And then find your side bend. Try to stay committed to that bend in your left knee. And breathe. Inhale. Exhale into your side bend. And then come on up to your warrior two. Straighten that left leg. Parallel your feet. Heels in, toes out. Sit down, left elbow underneath. Give yourself a hug. You can stay here. Find those eagle arms. And then maybe play with lifting both heels. I'm super shaky. My legs are really shaking. Let's try it one more time. Straighten both legs. Release your arms. Parallel your feet. Bring your hands to your hips and soften through your knees so you can come down just halfway so your spine's parallel with the floor. Lengthen out through the crown of your head and think about sending your inner thighs back. So you find some space in your lower back and your pelvis. And then you can lead with your heart to fold forward more. Maybe bring hands to the floor. You could bend your elbows. Let your head sink a little closer to the floor. And then see if you can lift all 10 of your toes. And then ground your toes. Ground through your little toes and see if you can just lift your big toes. And then switch. Ground through your big toes and see if you can lift just your little toes. And then release. Just bend into your knees. Toe heel your feet a little closer together. And then come down to kneeling. And we'll make our way to the floor. Lengthen your right leg out and just let your left knee be bent, foot toward your inner thigh. And then flex through that right foot and find a little bend in your knee. Feel like you're dragging your heel toward your bum without moving it anywhere. So your knee will bend. My pants match my mat so much that's hard to see, but there's space between my knee and the floor here. And then use that pulling. Your heel's not going to move, but you're going to find that engagement to pull yourself forward. And then push your heel away and come back up. And just do that a few times, just waving through your spine. And then you can pull yourself forward and then pause. Push your heel away. You can lengthen through your knee any amount. And think of lengthening through your heart. And just fold over that right leg. You can drop your left ribs, rotate them toward that right inner thigh. And let your breath kind of slow down. Your knee and your toes are still pointing up toward the ceiling. And then go ahead and walk yourself back in. Plant your hands behind you and just bend both knees. Find those windshield wiper knees that we did at the very beginning. And then lengthen through your left leg. Bend that right knee in. And feel like you're pulling your heel towards your thumb. You'll bend into that left knee and let that kind of pull your spine towards your leg. And then push it away. And then pull and push. So you've kind of got a whole body wave happening here to stretch through that whole back line of your body. My cat's gonna do downward facing dog for us. And then you can fold, push your heel away and stay in your fold. And think of dropping that right shoulder down. Your knee and toes point toward the ceiling, so they stay in line. And then go ahead and come back up. Find those windshield wipers of your legs. And then we'll make our way back to the seat that we started in. So if you started with a blanket underneath you, if you started kneeling, if you started with crossed legs, just set yourself up just like you did at the beginning. Thinking about knees the same height or lower than your hips so that your spine can be tall. And once you get yourself settled, just close your eyes and feel your heartbeat, feel your breathing. So part of the work that we're doing here is just to really befriend, enjoy our bodies, and move every part. We're only aware of the things that we use and engage with every day. And the more aware we are of our bodies, this gift that we have to experience this life, the more receptive we can be to the answers to the questions that we ask. And President Nelson has said, in coming days, it will not be possible to survive spiritually without the guiding, directing, comforting, and constant influence of the Holy Ghost. Bring your awareness to your feet and just notice the aliveness there. Feel your ankles and your shins and your knees. And feel your thighs and your hip joints where your legs and your pelvis meet. And feel that support of the bowl of your pelvis on your blanket or pillow underneath you. And feel the length of your spine. Feel your heart beating and your rib cage expanding and your diaphragm moving. And feel the whole length and weight of your arms. Let your neck grow tall. Notice the back of your head, the crown of your head, your forehead. Let yourself find a sense of a smile behind your eyes. And then just swallow. Relax your tongue and throat. And just hold the sense of a smile inside of your mouth. So let that come from the inside. It's that open upward curve of a smile. And find some space in your throat and find that inner sense of a smile there. That spacious upward curve. And then feel like your collarbones have that smile. And your heart has that smile. And just sit with your breath. You can bring your hands together in front of your heart and bow. You can offer a silent prayer of gratitude. So grateful there's a way that we can connect and be together. Thank you, friends, for coming today. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. And have a great day. So we were 45 minutes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was fun. Thanks, everyone. I'll stop the